Narcissists trauma bond you. Narcissists make sure that you're addicted, that you're stuck to the toxic person. They do this over and over and over again to try to make sure that you don't actually get free from their grip, from their grasp. Now, this is coming from the phrase and from the perspective of a narcissist, because I'm a diagnosed narcissist and I'm on here to help liberate people from the toxic abuse that they've been in for such a long period of time. Not knowing, not understanding that if you don't get free, this will impact you for a long period of time. This will impact generations to come. And oftentimes your kids, if brought up in a narcissistic family, in a narcissistic household, will either become narcissists themselves or they'll become codependent and start getting and falling in love with narcissists down the road because that's what they're used to. That's what they continue to see. This peak that happens inside of narcissistic relationship is where a narcissist gets you addicted to him. Like he gets you addicted where you feel like you can't do anything without him. Like you can't move on without him. You can't grow without him. You can't actually do anything without this person. This oftentimes is what we refer to as being trauma bonded. And trauma bonded typically comes in different fashions, different ways, but I want to illustrate it in maybe a different way than what you've seen before. So if you're watching on YouTube, great. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't see illustrations. So check it out on YouTube sometime. So when we're talking through this piece of a trauma bond, a lot of times, consider this as being like a rope. Okay? Consider it being like one singular rope. And what happens is when a narcissist has one singular rope around you, it's one story. It's one singular lie. It's something that they've been telling themselves, they've been telling you, or they've been telling other people for a period of time. It's something they've been telling you or telling other people for a period of time to convince you to stay stuck in the relationship. Now, the problem is when you're with a toxic person, it's not just one lie. Instead, it's another one. It's another one. It's another one. And all of a sudden, you've been with this person for such a long period of time. This rope, this one singular rope, is now this giant cable stretching back and forth, tying you. Now, the hard part is because this has so many, and we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of lies, hundreds and hundreds of stories, hundreds of things that keep you stuck to the toxic person. It feels like it's impossible. It feels like it's unbreakable. How many of you are struggling or stuck right now inside of a toxic relationship and you're like, I don't know if I can actually be free from this. I don't know if I can actually liberate myself because the bond, the tie that I have with this person is so strong. Like maybe you've invested so much time, energy, money into the relationship. You're just like, I don't think I can even cut this off. Like, who am I without this person? Like, is it possible for me to actually be free from this person? You're probably thinking today it's not. That's why you've been stuck in the relationship for a long period of time. Or you've already left the relationship and you still feel stuck. You still feel mentally addicted to this person. This is what those ties, this is what these bonds actually do. They make you feel like you're addicted. Addicted to toxicity. And what happens is you're addicted to this person. You're addicted to how it feels. You're addicted to what it looks like. You're addicted and you're like, if I leave, I'd still go back. Like he left me. If he came back today, even though he cheated on me, even though he hurt me, even though he put his hands around my neck, I would still take him back. Why? Because you're addicted. Because this trauma bond that continues to hold you. So let's take a look at it in a different way. Consider this whole aspect with the lies. I want you to consider it. We'll do it this way. Let's say this is you over here. All right, this is you. And over here, we're going to say this is the narcissist. Now, the narcissist has this rope in his hand. Okay? And this rope ends up being something that comes down here, circles around you, and goes back to him. Okay? And we have this rope. We have this lie. You are not good enough. One single one. Sometimes that's the base of the lie that the narcissist tells. But there's millions of them. There'll be another lie. And another lie. And all of a sudden, that rope that we just talked about ends up being a giant cable that has you trapped. And this is the part where you try to leave and you're like, I can't even leave. He's like sucking me back into the relationship. He's like pulling me back to him. Because there's so many bonds, there's so many ties, there's so many things going around you that are telling you, nope, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You can't do this without me. No one's going to love you. No one's going to care about a single mom. Nobody's going to care about someone who's moving up in business, but you don't have any confidence. You don't have any self-esteem. Who would even want that? You're oversensitive. You're all these things. And so there's going to be lie upon lie upon lie that a narcissist tells you to keep you stuck. The hard thing is he's telling you these lies and putting you down. He's also telling you other lies. That he's going to change. That he's going to get better. This stuff will be different this time. And so as he sucks you back into the relationship, he's normally selling you a different version of himself, saying, hey, it's going to get better. I'm going to get better. Life's going to be great. And you come back into the relationship, and then you realize 2 weeks, a month, 2 months later, that he's the exact same person. But he was using those lies, he was using those manipulative, like ties that are going around you to pull you back to him. He's pulling you back with lies, with stories, with different beliefs, with different thought processes that are going to hit your mind, making you think that you can't do it on your own. Now, the hard part is when you look at this, there is a lot of ties. There's a lot of bonds, even if we look back up here. There's a lot of these lines. Consider this aspect here. Let's do it again, okay? Consider this aspect. You've got a line, a line, a line, a line, all of this creating this giant thing. Now, here's the hard part. Is you're like, how do I actually see about breaking this? Like, is this actually possible for me to be able to break? Like I said, this feels like it's unbreakable. So look at this. This line is now like solid. You're like, there's no way I can break that. Let me tell you right now, it's true. You can't break it. Not all at once. It's impossible to break all at once. Because you saw how many were there. Just right now, it's probably like 20, 30, 40, 50 lines. But over the years that you've been with a narcissist, tons. So what do we have to do? Okay? Feels like it's unbreakable. Here's what we need to do. We need to break the lies. Like, break the things that are actually controlling you, manipulating you, holding you hostage. Break that so people are able to see, like, wait a second, like, if I actually break free from this lie, I'll be able to be free. Now, the hard part, like I just showed you, is there's so many of them, right? And this is where you get overwhelmed. You get overwhelmed, you're like, there's no possible way I can get free from all of this. And once you understand it doesn't happen overnight, and this is a journey. This is a process. Most people start to think that, like, oh, it'll be better, I can work through it, I'll just figure it out on my own, time will heal these wounds, and I want to let you know that's not true. Time is not on your side when you're dealing with a narcissist. Time just oftentimes means it's going to take a longer time for it to fester in your mind, but that's it. It doesn't really mean anything for healing. That's like saying, hey, my bone is going to set itself if I just give it enough time. It'll just magically set itself. It might set itself, but be completely wrong because it hasn't been actually set and corrected. It is the hard part. People get discouraged. They look at it and they're like, it's too hard. It's too difficult. It's not possible. I'm here to tell you that that's completely a lie, that the narcissist wants you to believe so you can stay a victim and captive to him. Does it take time? 100%. Is it easy? No, it's not easy at all. Can you be free? Yes, 100%. The thing you need to understand is as we look at these lies, they don't get broken all at once. They get broken one at a time. So as we back this up, I want to be able to see, like, as we actually break the lies here, look at this. Doesn't look like much is changing, does it? Because right now you're looking and you're seeing only one lie disappear at a time. And this is where people, they start to give up. They're like, wait a second, it's not actually getting any better. Like, it still feels the same. I still feel like I'm stuck. I still feel like I'm trauma bonded. I still feel like I can't actually be free. And you're like, wait a second, I don't think I can be free. Doesn't seem like it's working. And sometimes we have to take a look and we have to say, wait a second, take a look back at where you actually were. Do you see the difference? And people are like, oh, yeah, I do. I'm like, do you see the difference now? Oh, yeah, I do. And all of a sudden you start getting to a place where you become free. You see, this process isn't a fast process. It's not a short process, but it is a process that works because we've seen it liberate people over and over and over again. But we can't do it by scanning out and just looking at the macro of this is too impossible. There's too many ties to this person. There's too many cords wrapped around me. There's too much of the trauma bond that's there. But instead we have to say, hey, let's just look at one. Can we give you a daily victory of just looking at one and working on eradicating one? That's it. We're not going to get rid of them all. We're not going to deal with them all. We're just going to deal with one. Can we do that first? And so people do that with one, and then they start moving forward and they do it with a second one. And they start moving forward and they do it with a third one. They start moving forward and they do it with a fourth one and a fifth one and a sixth one. And all of a sudden they start to pick up this momentum because they start to see that they're growing, that they're changing, that they're transforming from the inside out. But it all starts with a decision to make one. The hard part is sticking with it. Well, the piece I highlighted a week or so ago, we're talking about consistency in the healing, is that's the name of the game when we talk about healing. It's about you showing up consistently for you. And when you looked at that illustration, when I had all those lines there, and I just got rid of one, people are like, yeah, this doesn't work. Like the bond is still there. Like it hasn't broken. I'm like, yeah, what did you expect? You've been in the relationship for 5 years. It's going to take longer than like 5 days. Can we make a lot of progress in 45 days in the Clarity Challenge and 120 days inside of the Thriver community? Inside of Thriver Launch was a year program. Yeah, we can make a lot of progress. Majority of people that are working with us for a year aren't even dealing with narcissistic abuse because they've already broken free. We're working on maximizing who they are, how they're developing their businesses, their new relationships, their life in general. But that all started with a decision. One singular decision to eradicate one lie, to eradicate one story, to move past one rope that was holding them hostage, and then to do it again, and then to do it again, and then to do it again. You see, consistency is the biggest thing that will help you as you're on your journey of healing. It's going to be the easiest thing to quit. It's going to be the hardest thing to keep showing up for you every single day, but it gets easier. Because you start to see the bonds break away one piece at a time, starts to build up your momentum. It starts to make you realize that healing is actually possible. That's why when we try to bring you into any of our communities, we're like, hey, show up for you, show up for you, show up for you, show up for you. And you're like, whoa, I'm starting to show up for me. We're like, yes, we told you that because we were trying to make you do that. Because all of a sudden, if you show up for you, you start to realize that healing is possible because you're in control of it. He doesn't control you. No one controls you. You control you. But when you let everybody else dictate and control you, you become a victim of your circumstances and a victim to the reality that other people are controlling you. All this comes down today with trauma bond is a narcissist has all these ties and ropes and bonds around you. You have the choice of will you actually break through one of them today, a second one tomorrow, a third one the next day, and so on and so forth. Because that's the path forward. Is it easy? No. Is it super fun? No. Does it take a while? Yeah. But does it actually work? 100%. And we see people that are liberated every single day. If you want to see how I do this and how I coach people, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough because I want to equip you with the tools and the knowledge to help you move forward in your healing today.